I talk about effort with my clients often around the breath, and like people who've had singing training, or even people who haven't but have just heard things about singing training, like the amount of total beginner singers who come into me and they're like, I think I need to learn to breathe more, or use my breath more, or support my breath more. And I'm like, what do you mean by that exactly? So often people are working so hard to try to like push the sound out, and it makes the voice unstable. You know, if you're like really pushing it, it becomes really hard to maintain your voice, your consistency, and your stability.
I imagine vocal health would be like really important there.
Can impact, you know, in vocal fatigue and vocal injury and that kind of thing. So in what you were talking about, like doing less, so often we have this impression that we have to work really hard in order to sing, and we have to do a lot, and it should be a lot of effort. But quite often we're just using way more effort than we need. And I always talk to my clients about like the right amount of effort in the right place. Not too much, not pushing, but also not holding back. So we can have like excess, what I call extraneous tension or muscle effort in pushing too much. And we can also have that effort in like holding back that becomes a tightness and constriction. So I think Alexander is something that is really great for finding that sweet spot. Like, what's the effort I actually need to do this task with my body? And finding that in the right place, and not like trying to use your butt cheeks to put out do something. I was trying to think of something that the butt cheeks wouldn't be helpful with.
Butt cheeks.
Sometimes they're helpful.
It's a good system for inquiring into levels of effort and where can we find more ease. And even if it's just a change in your thinking, that will have a change in how we coordinate with that. And then we get to play, and sometimes we will be more effortful, and that's okay. Like, it's not about right and wrong. It's a fine-tuning of self, and that's why we practice, and that's why we play, and that's why we get feedback from others, and it's always changing. It's an adventure.
I would never want the experience of something like starting to look at how we use our bodies and how our mind influences that to be like to make it wrong to have tension, you know what I mean? Like if we're also feeling like being self-critical about the fact that I have too much tension, you know. And I've heard of, you know, singing teachers saying to singers, you have like really bad tension in one way, like tongue tension or this tension. And exactly, what's the thought that goes along with like why am I so tense? Is
more
more
tensing.
tensing.
Yay, more tension. I think that's why the Alexander's technique is effective, because it gives you a new thought to work with. So it's not just saying, oh, don't do that. It's going, okay, we're noticing that, let's pause, let's observe, and now let's give ourselves a new direction. Let's try something else on. So you won't be left with unhelpful tips of like, don't do that.
Stop doing it.
So something else will come from it.
What can you observe? What's another option?
And sometimes that will be very much a surprise in the moment of, because something will happen in your body, something will happen in that moment. That's often a very surprising and delightful, like, I wasn't expecting that.